Hey Poly Glow family, this is Len, one of the owners of Poly Glow. And in our last video, we talked about how to just do some general cleaning and take care of some light staining on your boat or RV or painted aluminum trailer. In this next video, we're going to talk about how to take care of blemishes that are a little bit deeper than just some mild staining. We're talking about oxidation of the Poly Glow if it's sitting out in the sun, especially down south. We're talking about heavier staining or deeper staining under the Poly Glow finish that doesn't come out with just washing with Poly Wash or Poly Wash Pro. And we're talking about some light scratches. That's in this very next video, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are now. I'm going to show you how to get rid of blemishes. The first blemish that you'll see is oxidation, right? This represents some oxidation. I made this with our ultrafine sanding pad just to represent oxidation. And you can see actually this is very similar to oxidation. A white chalky material will come off on your fingers. You can also get scratches like this. I don't know if you can see that here. So you might see this on your RV. You drive by some trees and you get a nice big scratch in your Poly Glow surface. And then the third kind of blemish you can get is a stain. Water comes off the roof and it causes black stains in your Poly Glow. If you wash it with Poly Wash and it doesn't come off, and you put the Poly Wash Pro additive in your mixture and you wash it again, it still doesn't come off, this is how you would get rid of it, the same process. And there are two things you can use. You can use our Poly Strip or our Poly Ox. So here's our Poly Strip and our Poly Ox. If this was a gel coat situation, it wouldn't matter which one you were using. But because it's a painted aluminum situation, or if this was painted plastic, or if this was clear coat, you don't want to rip the paint or the clear coat off of the base. So you want to be careful to just take off several layers of the Poly Glow. This is what's great about Poly Glow. It goes on in layers, you can take it off in layers. And you could do that easily with Poly Ox and our non-abrasive scrub pad, right? You don't want to use the ultrafine sanding pad unless you can't get the stain out, which sometimes penetrates into the Poly Glow. And then you can use the ultrafine sanding pad. It'll take off more of the layers, but then you're going to reapply Poly Glow on here and it doesn't matter. The Poly Strip, okay, you want to be careful with this. You want to dilute it more. I'm going to start with the 3-to-1 dilution to get some of the superficial layers off, but if I was getting closer to the paint, then I would dilute it more like 6-to-1. 6 parts water, 1 part Poly Strip. So I'm going to show you how to use Poly Strip right now to clean this up, and Poly Ox. You want to do this with an old towel, okay? Here's our Poly Strip. It's 3 parts water, 3 parts water, 1 part strip. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to actually mist my towel here. I'm going to mist this, and I'm just going to take off some of the superficial layers here of Poly Glow and clean this up. And I can feel it coming off. It's going to dull the shine. That's normal. Okay? Now, I just got rid of my oxidation. Perfect. I did not get rid of the scratch yet. I'm going to keep working on this a little bit. And I just want to make sure that the edges are smooth. And so here, there's a scratch here. I can see some of the layers coming off. This is a little bit deeper. I'll probably need to use Poly Ox with the white scrub pad. And I may even need to use the ultrafine sanding pad. So you want to wet this pad. Apply a little Poly Ox here. You don't want to go crazy. Rub it in so it doesn't go all over the place. So you can do this process right over the Poly Glow because you're going to apply it. Now notice, I don't have to worry about some of the surrounding areas. When I put new Poly Glow on here, it's going to blend right in. Okay? And if I'm not happy with it, I can still see this scratch. I can use the ultrafine sanding pads to just help out, okay? you can have water running off the side of your RV, or you pick up things in the waterways and you get staining that you just can't get off with the Polywash and the Polywash Pro. I'm going to demonstrate that with a Sharpie marker, and we're going to see how to get that off. Can you see that? Okay, so we're going to take the stain off. You're going to see it doesn't come off super easy. You got to work at it a little bit because you're taking off the layers of Poly Glow. See, if I just go like that, it doesn't come off. So I want to work at it and take the layer of Poly Glow off where it's sitting, and it will eventually come off. And this is very similar to the stain. You can see it's coming off here, right? I literally had to take the Poly Glow layer off without taking the paint off. I'm going to reapply some strep. And we're just going to keep working this until we get it all off. And I could easily have used Polyox, wet it down, use the white scrub pad. If that doesn't do it, break out the ultrafine sanding pad. And there you go. The stain is gone. Paint's preserved. Now, there's actually a little staining right here. You probably can't see it. But we're going to get that off around the lettering. Really important. Now, when this dries, you don't need to rinse it. When this dries, it is going to look dull. It's supposed to look dull. You just use Polyprep on it. Okay? Then we're going to reapply Poly Glow. This is how you would take care of a blemish. If this were the annual maintenance application, all you would do is wash it with Polywash, Polywash Pro. You may need to take a stain or two off, and then you're going to apply 3 to 4 coats of Poly Glow over everything. If you just took a few coats of Poly Glow off of here, you're going to put 3 or 4 coats on here, and then you're going to do the whole thing again with another 3 to 4 coats. It really helps to have a good 8 to 10 coats of Poly Glow as a base layer, because then if you do get a scratch or a blemish, you could take off some of the superficial layers. You don't have to go all the way down to the gel coat or the paint. The paint's protected, and then you can reapply your Poly Glow. So, just so you know, white scrub pad, Polyox can do the same thing. If the stain doesn't come off with the white scrub pad, you're going to use the ultrafine sanding pad to take off the rest of the stain and some of the layers. But let's apply Poly Glow now. You want to wet this. You want to wring it out. You don't want it to be wet. You want it to be damp. And now we're going to apply a little bit of Poly Glow to this. Shake the bottle. Okay, shake it up really well. Apply a few lines. You're going to evenly distribute the Poly Glow, and then very easy, you're just going to start to apply. Now, in the scratched area that's down to the paint, it's not going to fill in, okay? And you can see that. I've demonstrated that for you. You can see how easy it was to apply Poly Glow to this area. This part's already dry. Because I took some layers off of this, I'm just going to apply probably another 6 or 7 or 8 coats. And you now have a perfectly sealed, beautifully sealed, high gloss shine for another year. Remember throughout the year to wash it. You can take the blemishes off. You know, don't worry about taking off some layers of Poly Glow. You can easily reapply. If I just had a little spot right here and I just clean it up, boom, that's all I'm going to do. Blends in nicely with the remaining surrounding Poly Glow. That's all you got to do. So I'm just going to go right back at this. You see how easy and how fast this goes on. Probably have a little bit too much Poly Glow on the mitt, which can happen. You don't want to do that because that'll cause streaks. Cause runs. and I had too much Poly Glow on there, so I just went over it lightly. Don't push too hard. It can cause bubbling and a lot of other things. Give it a couple minutes to dry. Remember, if it's really hot and low humidity, it's going to dry very quickly. Check the surface temperature. If it's above 90, 95 degrees, it's too hot. It'll dry too fast. If it's below 60, it'll take way too long to dry, and it won't go on well. It really should be 65 to 95 degrees is the perfect temperatures in and around that area. So that's it. I'm going to apply another, 3-4 coats. Maybe in this area, I'll probably put another 6 coats of Poly Glow, and I'll have a brand new high gloss shine. So Poly Glow family, we've now come to the end of the part of the videos where I tell you how to take care of blemishes and reapply Poly Glow. And remember, use our products. It takes care of the blemishes, including oxidation, some light scratches, and staining on your boat or RV or painted aluminum trailer. And now you can maintain that gloss that's boss.